Okay. So thank you for that. So just a quick review. We've gone over, and move this out of the way. Okay. So practice, practice, practice. Our intuition is like a muscle. We must practice listening to it and trusting its wisdom. When you take the time to ask and keep listening for the answers, you increase your connection, your communication with your internal soul, which is connection with all. So the prayer, if you could also understand, to feel your words is the lost mode of prayer. Because when we feel and we really open our hearts to experience the emotion and really hang out on the wording of our prayer, that is the most profound, it's a law of attraction. That energy, that state of being that we hold, we turn on that frequency like a radio station to receive and amplify more abundance of it. So when we use that lost mode of prayer, which is all about your feeling into it, not just recited off of a little script or just, you know, read out loud from your ego and your intellect. I really want you to say your prayer, the 4 elements, when you practice this in the days and the weeks to come with your heart, okay? And so just as an example, I'm including a very common prayer. The wording you can make your own and you can tweet it. And for those of you who have, there's one archangel I want to introduce to you, most powerful for light workers and all beings on this planet. It's an essence, an energy that is beyond, it's an energy, but we depict it in paintings, much like the card deck that I chose to use, is this beautiful being who is depicted as a male with, and all archangels are neither male or female. They are just beautiful essence of love and light. But it's said that Archangel Michael's energy is very masculine. And the reason why, when we are calling upon that energy, we draw towards us with our intention, confidence, strength, protection, truth. It is such a force that just helps you to really hold your head up and have a strong will in life. So we call upon Archangel Michael as a placeholder, as a reminder that that essence is always available to us, and that beautiful energy amplifies to us, which we refer to as a messenger of God, Archangel Michael. Okay, it's beautiful presence. Sometimes you feel a big warm blanket around you in the presence, or you might even experience golden light energy or deep blues and purples when he's around. Or you might even see the image of him with a sword, which is an etheric sword that cuts through lies and illusions that we tell ourselves. There's so many beautiful reasons why Archangel Michael is valuable to invoke when you're creating a sacred space in your prayer. Archangel Michael, I affirm your protection and your safety, and you're opening up, and I'm confident knowing with this energy that I'm connecting only with beings of love and light. And then you want to ask for help. You want to include the beings that resonate with you. I love to say God's messengers, archangels, ascended masters, elementals, beings of love and light, deceased loved ones. I list them all. I am like, God, whoever you will to come through, you know who's best to be a messenger. I don't want to limit and say, I just want my grandmother or my brother to come in, because that is limiting this beautiful abundance of wisdom and information, and we're asking just one being to come through to give us that guidance. Why not just open up and ask from God's will, if you want? That could just be a real quick way to do it. Because sometimes my brother has the best thing to say, but sometimes more esoteric wisdom needs to come through. So we leave it up to God to choose. And I ask for help and from God's will, and you can state the inquiry. You can state whether this is about a relationship. And I find that the more focused and the intention at the prayer, the more information rapidly comes through. It's not general. It's like we're specific, and God, we would really like to help on this area. And I find that's very powerful, especially when you're in the moment and you're just pulling one card. And finally, we want to ask for it to be healing and blessings from God's will. And I love this. And the reason why this part of the prayer is so important to say is because what if you're seeking, or your friend is seeking, they're saying, how can I get this marriage to last? Instead, if you're saying, this marriage needs to be last, you're attached to the outcome. You're not willing to open your heart to see that the best course of action is divorce, and it's a blessing for all involved. You know, what if we're holding on to this career, this interview that we went to, and we're like, God, I really want this job, you know, help me to get it. But really, you are not meant for that job, that interview. You're meant for something bigger and better that's going to come a week from now. So we want to ask for healing and blessings from God's will. What information, God, is, and you can ask about your relationships, you can ask about your career, but be opened, okay? So that's the power of this elements of the prayer. And at the very end, you know, really giving thanks and really giving gratitude for the information. It's saying, I anticipate it to come, that I'm open and surrendering and I'm receiving. Because if we're not doing that, we're actually just leaving it off, and it's the difference between expecting something to come in the future and really allowing your heart to pour in the moment, okay? And there's so much more to talk about. I want to get forward. I just wanted to help you with the opening prayer because it is so valuable when you create a sacred space to do so with boundaries and intention, and really ask the people that you really know could be of God's will to come in and to be helpful, because you want it to be a good experience from the get-go. And you will be able to discern energy, because here we go. We're going to start to go into the next slide, which is picking your deck. So here we go. We're going to go back to that prayer later, and I'm going to recite it as a guided prayer for us all before we do this one card reading. And you'll have this PDF as well, like I said, and the recording. So first thing we're going to do is picking your cards. I don't know if you're me, but I have over 40 decks of cards, and I've given many of them away because what I found are, when I do workshops, I like to have variety. And what I've been able to do, if you could see my pictures down there at the bottom, I have coaching cards, I have angel cards, I have Archangel Michael cards that are really, you know, he's about taking action. Archangel Michael is about wielding your inner confidence, being clear and stepping up. And it's so empowering, those decks of cards. But also I have the angelic angel messages of love that's softer and that's more nurturing and introspective and being patient and forgiving. And then I've got the love and light, which are they actually are very spiritual, and they remind me of biblical tenses. So that soars in my heart. And there's so many beautiful decks out there, but there's also decks based on the traditional tarot decks, which are in the middle. And I don't know if you can see my pointer, but we have Archangel Power Tarot, and then we've got the Angel Tarot, and there's many, many others out there. And the reason why these are more advanced. If you're a beginner, go by all means, you're more than welcome to go for these decks. But I also find that there is a beautiful advanced aspect to them because they're based on tarot. And if anyone here has studied the tarot, the reason why tarot became fear-based because of the hangman and the devil and the tower, and they are beautiful messages. But we who did not have the understanding, were ignorant to it, felt that they were fearful. Plus, if we take a look back at the way movies depicted tarot and how they were gypsies or people that were casting curses and saying, you need to pay me in order for me to heal you, all sorts of ritualistic things from movies, and the belief that they were fear-based and that bad omens would happen. So that is completely false. In my studies over the years, I have come to know that the tarot is beautiful. It has all to do with the cycle of life, many different forms and archetypes. And not to get into it, because this is not a tarot course, but they're based on that and they're beautiful. I just wanted to bring that up. And so picking your cards is based on what if you're an intellect and you like wordy cards, if you're religious and you like to draw upon Mother Mary, there's a card deck for you. Take a look, research, If you want my feedback, I'd be here to help you. But one of the things that I also ask you to do is, if you like creatively, you're someone who likes to close your eyes and imagine, and you're a dreamer and you're creative, you might like this little example, the 3 cards with the stones around it, because they are a beautiful picture with few words. The pictures tell 1,000 stories. A picture tells 1,000 words, whatever that saying is. And I have an example to tell you, to show you in the card decks, in these slides to come. But I do want to talk about the fear and the shielding and the myths and the traditional rituals. I want us to open our mind to that's old world. Those are based on, now open your heart and discern what you want. But my belief is, and you could believe this or not, but it doesn't matter if I forget to do my rituals, or if I get to clear the deck, or if I get to do the prayer. It's even it's our intuition, it's our inner heart, it's the feeling, it's the volition, it's what we set out. Our mind is of one with God. It's just more powerful when we really play a role. But what I don't want you to do is get caught up on the traditional rituals. You don't need to be attuned. You don't need to have any special gift to be intuitive. You are born, this is your birthright. So doing circles and creating a sacred space and cleansing all of these things and knocking on it and saying, may this deck be clear, comes from old world belief, and it's fear belief. But we know that if you have a belief, if you've done energy healing, if you're an empath, shielding is something that you practice. But we don't want to get caught up with the wording, the vocabulary so much, but shielding could also mean that you don't feel safe. And it conjures and it triggers some restrictions and blocks. So if you're blocking yourself from the very thing that you want to have a channel of, just be aware of that, because shielding means that you cut yourself off for good. And I have people that don't open up to their intuition because it's fearful, and they close it off and they only rely on their gut feeling, but that's all they want to call it. So we know that we could actually commune with so much beautiful love and light, and as we practice through this deck. So as an empath, you're going to understand that it's about observing and not absorbing, and where we keep our focus. And if you're interested, if you are an empath and you are struggling on your fear around opening up in environments, and you are confused about the old world belief around fear and this oneness, this light that's within us, and we transmute and shed nothing but light when we're in any of our, when we open our heart. But if we're focusing on fear and we're closing off, fear dims that inner light. So we want to be able to manage with fear, because fear is always going to be there. This is a course on its own, but I just wanted to plant this seed and let you know next Wednesday is the Empath Empowerment course, where we take this and we go deeper. But I want you to just know that we don't have to worry about fear when we do that prayer and we call upon Archangel Michael, and we trust confidently that when we open up our abilities to see, to hear, to feel the energy palpably in our body, that it is of love and light only. So we're going to have that faith and surrender. And we're going to use our willpower in our intention as we affirm that may it be blessings and healing. That's why the willpower and the intention is our ability to navigate in the spiritual world. If we're shielding and we're afraid, we're wimpy. We don't have a good grounded essence with our inner being. So we want to practice coming from our solar plexus and establishing that will confidently with joy and ease and have fun. We don't want to be falling into a victim mentality that we're not safe. And so if you are, my workshop's next week, guys. So don't worry about any rituals, because it has nothing, our intuition does not rely on if we forget to turn around 2 circles and pat our heads. Like, let's not worry about any of those, okay? Oh, Michelle, I don't know when you wrote that, getting cold shivers. Oh, thank you. That's the interaction we're having. Everyone read your comments too as well as we go. So here we go. Are we ready? Because now we're going to start to talk about the deck and the 1-card deck. So how to clear our deck And the intention, remember, it's just intention. We're not coming from fear. But in the decks of cards, I'm going to teach this to you. They all say tap on the deck with your intentions for them to be reset and clear and ready. And when we do that, it's literally just a couple taps. So if you want to hold your deck and hold it up, and you can just, may this deck be clear, use your will. And then good. And then when we do that, we begin with that beautiful opening prayer, which I will recite to you ready when we're ready to do this card reading, okay? And then we state the question. We are going to start as a group today. We're going to start by asking, what do we need to know most as a group? And we're going to trust, because we're going to talk about the next slide, the discernment and the intuitive awakenings tips. But I want to tell you the how first, okay? So we're going to shuffle the deck. Now, intuitively shuffling. I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes I shuffle and one pops out immediately. And if that's happened to any of you, I want you to know that that is perfect. You want to hold that card and let that be the card. Or if you were in the middle of pulling out a card, if I'm shuffling and I'm just using my gut feeling, I'm using my intuition, and I feel like I'm ready to stop now. I just feel that. You're just going to know when the card's ready. And you're going to either, excuse me, shuffling means we can either fan them out, or if you're like some people, you split the deck and you do a couple of things just until your intuition tells you. But I am easy peasy. I'm like, let's just fan them out and I'll just choose. And I usually use my guidance. Sometimes I use, when I'm intuitively pulling a card, which is the next step, one of them just lights up. Have you ever had just at the corner of your eye a little sparkle, or the color just seems to be shimmering, or there's just a little, it almost like it lights up in your third eye. It's being projected and you just feel like a pull intuitively. So you may not see it, but you just feel guided to go into the middle of the deck or the end. Use your intuition to see where it guides you, because it might be a visual, or it might be you just know. It's just a download of a knowing. For me, I feel guided and it's lighting up, and I feel pulled to picking the one that's in the middle. So go ahead and pull that card when you're ready. I'll give you one moment. And okay, so now we're going to move into, just going to take a sip. We're going to move into discernment. And we're going to have a lot more juicier tips coming up as well. But here's the gist for beginning. Use all your senses. When you pull a card, which I have just pulled a card, and my card, what I am immediately drawn to is this pulling back and hesitation. It's a hesitation in an arrow. You could see this. And what I'm drawn to, because we're going to use our senses to guide us what we see. Maybe it's a word, maybe it's a color, maybe it's like what I saw immediately, an arm pulling back and hesitating to take action. That's what came to me intuitively. Or you might even be drawn, if you've got a wordy card, to one of the words that just pop out. And it says, for me, it's guidance. The word guidance just pops out. I need guidance. I'm not trusting. I need more guidance. So that's what this card is telling me in terms of what do we need to know most for this group. We're all hesitating and we're all waiting for some sign outside of us when we want to be able to cultivate that within and have that faith. So that's the message I would deliver based on this instant just looking at it. Now I could close my eyes, broaden my focus on the card, and I could take a look back. So sometimes I basically pull the card back at arm's length and I get an overall visual. So reading that card isn't just an intellectual reading, it becomes a discernment piece. So holding that card, if you could see me, I'm holding it at arm's length and I'm looking at it and I'm beginning to open myself up to be guided to my senses, allowing to go to that perspective where my eye wants to lead me and trust it. Maybe you also get a feeling in your body. And this is the next level of giving a card reading. I began, when I would pull a card, I would begin to feel a sensation in my body, like an emotion that rises up when I read it. So reading the card might invoke an emotion within your body that, and articulating that emotion is another way, and it's learning the language of how divine speaks to you. So today we're going to practice not just looking at the card, but feeling overall where it's leading us, how we feel when we read the words, closing our mind and getting more guidance. We want to be able to inquire and be curious. So basically what I'm doing is I'm giving you a psychic 101 workshop. I'm saying, if you really want to delve in, here are the steps. Use your intuition, go in and use, and I've got some psychic tips. If you can see the scrolls, these are wonderful little scrolls I'm going to have throughout the next few slides, and then I list them all at the last page for an easy to read list. So what I wanted to show you, Jeff, the mediumship card, awesome. So the psychic tip is, doubt, fears, and insecurities dim my inner light. My connection to pure channel when I'm a service to God. So if you're nervous and you're uncertain about pulling a card, know that if you're nervous and insecure and doubtful, that you're serving your ego and you're not being of service and opening up to the divinity. So I have a go-to neurologically reprogramming affirmation. It's I am of service to God. Because when I open up to receive guidance, I am being helped by God, and I grow and evolve, and I'm a light to others. So when we're showing up and giving a friend a reading, and we're worried about whether we're right, or if we said the message, or if we're spot on, or trying to really impress them, we are not open to divine. We're in our ego, and we're going to have a very mild, mediocre reading. When we open up and we get out of nervous, we get out of our own way, and we don't make it about us, and we're just a service from source, that is the go-to phrase. I am of service. I am focused on service. That is my go-to affirmation. Borrow it. If you're like me, that's my go-to. Okay, guys? Another tip is to rotate through your senses. So when you're looking at your card, rotate. What do I see, hear, feel, and know? And I'm not talking about the physical. I'm talking about, what does your mind's eye conjure up? What does the color? Maybe there's a word. Maybe you are even hearing a thought, a phrase, a song, a word. You may be a clairaudient person where you clear hear the guidance. You may even have a memory that comes up. You're being made aware of a memory that's a learning experience to share with the person that you're reading, or for yourself. There are so many beautiful things that come from your metaphysical senses, beyond the physical. And I want you to also be curious and ask, if you do get, say you see a color, or you feel a presence, like an emotion, or if you're giving a reading and you feel like a sensation on your upper heart or your throat, inquire, God, why am I feeling this pressure on my throat? Or why am I feeling anxious? Is it my nerves, or is it the nerves of my friend? Is she nervous about something? That one is huge. So we're going to go into the next couple of slides where we're going to talk about discernment. I'm just going to do a time check. Oh, perfect. It's only 8:23. We have a whole 40 minutes. So what I want to do is now take action on this. So here's a sample. A sample that I did. I took this picture. I pulled this card when I did this slide deck yesterday. It's time to leave an unhealthy situation was the card that I picked. What I intuitively picked up on it immediately without reading the card, I did those discernment tools that I shared in the slide prior. And I immediately got surrender and have faith. Why? Because look at the image where where the hands are in the air and the head is tilted up, and there's wings on the mind of God, and it's open to a channel of light. And it's like, surrender and have faith. It's because I saw that image. Then I saw the light on the stick that they're holding in the receiving on the feminine side, which is about nurturing and introspectiveness and interrelationship with the aspect that you're seeking. And it's all about, you know what to do. You've already got this. You have to trust yourself. So you know what it is you need to do. And so this card, I didn't read the card, I didn't say the prayer, but that's what this message meant for me. This was a reading I did for myself yesterday, and I completely felt right. So I just wanted to share a little example on how to use the images as a way to give you intuitive guidance. So let's pull a card, but be aware of ego's need and attachment to the outcome. Don't ignore the card you pull. So there's been times when I've done readings, and I did telephone readings with card readings when I began doing my lightworker career. And I remember I pulled a card that was about the marriage card. And I never met this person who called me. I pulled the card and I said, I discerned, there was a feeling in my gut. I didn't feel, even though I pulled the marriage card, something, I discerned that she wasn't getting married. I had the word say, married to self. I felt a knot in my stomach at the thought of being in a commitment. This person was not having a healthy viewpoint on commitment, and I felt a knot in my stomach, and I felt like, wow, I just feel like I need my space, and I want to get to know who I am first. So I shared what I got. I trusted what I got. And she's validated and said, I just broke up with my fiance. We decided not to get married. So it could be so profound that you get a card. Trust it. Don't ignore it. Allow yourself to feel into it. And if not, because we're practicing and we're beginners for most of us, I don't want you to get tied up, because look what's coming. Intuitive techniques, how we can delve into it. We may not get through all of this, but this one here is about discerning. Discernment. So if I could just take this slide and ask all of you to go into your inner being, I want you to experience for yourself just 1 point from this slide for time's sake. It's cultivating the yes and no from your feeling nature. We all have the capacity to experience this. And for those of you who already have the essence of knowing what a yes, what a no means, wonderful, but open your heart and open your mind to follow along with us. So here is what I want you to do for this exercise. Okay, thank you, Al, for the time. What I want you to do is, your body doesn't lie. Your body doesn't know the difference between past, present, or future. So let's work with this. Let's use our mind as a vehicle into our mind-body connection. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a truth statement. So for example, what we're going to do is say in our own words silently in our own minds, we're going to say and state the truth of our full name. So I'm going, for an example, I'm going to say, my name is Kirsten Elizabeth Hodgins. And I want us to be aware of the shift that we feel. Focus on your body. Focus when you say that statement on your heart or your throat or your just anywhere in your being. Generally focus. Just focus on the feeling of your body when you make that statement. So let's do that together. And when you're ready, I want you to recite your name. I am, and say your name. Okay, so when you're ready, I'll give you 1 minute to experience what that feels like. What does truth feel like in your body? Go ahead. Okay, so what I was looking for was that you were able to say your name and feel a shift of truth. For me, it felt like all the way from my emotion center, my sacral, which is where my reproductive center field of energy is, all the way up, mostly in my throat chakra. It was like this big cord of light just opened and it was expansive. and it allowed me to feel free and liberated in that energy. So it was very liberating and opened. Okay, now let's lie to ourselves. Let's say a false statement, and I want you to say your name wrong, such as, here's an example. My name is King Cat Cole. Oh, that felt very bad. My throat chakra, everything just seized up. I felt it immediately. So I want you to take a minute and say a false statement and see how your body responds. Okay, go ahead. I'll give you one moment. Thank you, Michelle. You said that you received tingles at the base of your neck. Wonderful. So that was for your yes. Does anyone want to share any of their experiences from what a powerful statement felt like versus a no? Does anyone want to share? Please go ahead in the chat. Excellent, Jeff. Thank you for sharing. You got tingles too? Yes, a heaviness, Al. It's the opposite of feeling liberated and expanded. We feel it's actually a constricting energy. It dims your light down and really pulls you in, and it's like that big, long inner essence gets tight. Yes, a heavy heart. Many people feel it. They're very able to discern a yes and no in their heart energy. Thank you very much for sharing that. Yes. Also, Michelle, a tightness in the back under the shoulder blades. Absolutely. So that's where our wings are. If you can imagine, if we were to have wings there, it could actually be less, it could be constricting. And that's another beautiful example of explaining the differences between a yes and no discernment. There are a million ways to practice our discernment. And in fact, I have a whole weekend course that we practice discernment in many different ways. But I want you to be open to experiencing what a yes and no, what your inner compass, like you're your own dowsing rod, your own energy center to the cards. Because when we pull the cards, we're going to be able to use that inner gut feeling, and the lag time of practicing our discernment ends up being shorter and shorter in time. So what used to take you maybe days or weeks to figure out an intuitive guidance message or a synchronicity or sign in the internal environment, you know, that's the reason why we have synchronicities and external signs, is because we are not connecting with our inner being. But the fact that you're being made aware of those signs and synchronicities is the fact you are being intuitive at the same time. But there's more to it. So open up. In a moment when you ever see the sign or a synchronicity happening, like 11:11 on your alarm clock, or repetitive conversation or visual, go in immediately and say, what was I just thinking about? What is the message? Inquire, because there's so much to practice with your discernment piece for that lag time. So now I'm excited because we're going to start to read the cards. I wanted to get back to this one. So let's see. I have pulled a card. I've shared my card. I want to open up. What message do you have? I want to take a moment when you pull that card. I want you to take a look at it. And when you're ready to share, I want you to type a message. There's enough of us here that we could leave with profound guidance, and trust what you're getting. So take a moment. So I'll go back to the page to help you to remember all the different things. What stands most out for you? Broaden your focus on the card. See where your eye draws you. Maybe it's one word or color or an image. Give what you get. And then type your message in the chat. I also want you to read the message on the card. And then when you read the message, take a moment and close your eyes and really say, well, the focus is, what do we need to know most for as a group? And allow that message to come. So Michelle, thank you, Michelle. Michelle has a message for us, and it's prosperity. to brighten, bright things are coming. Necessary money. Okay, sorry, I couldn't read it. It just moved somebody. So necessarily money, not necessarily money, but light, peace. I love that. Thank you. So we also have, so Sharon, you asked for a personal message to yourself. You said you asked for direction and my car. So we also got celebration. Yes, we should be celebrating. Right now we have opportunity to either look at the conditions of our life or to do what we can so we can hit the ground running when all of this passes over. I totally agree with that. So if everybody's reading theirs, I'm going to just, here we go. I love it. Calmness, celebrating, breathe and be present. Absolutely. The Four of Wands signifies celebration, prosperity and stability, holiday and achievements, pending recovery from hardship. Love that one, Oren. Illuminate, yeah. To stop the mind holding oneself, holding myself closed, but always allowing to open up. I love that. Love that, Karen. Thank you, Linda. Brilliant new ideas and inspiration, seeing the truth of the situation and a challenging beginning. So you guys are reading these, right? I got you are profound clairvoyant. It's very busy and hectic card. The card says, trust what you see in your mind's eye as well as with your physical sight. For your spiritual visions, helps you with healing, teaching, and guidance. I love that. That is so true. For those of you who are not aware of your ability to see with your mind, that I just wanted to also say that we are profoundly psychic in all aspects. We can hear, we can feel, we can see, we can know, we can smell, we can taste metaphysically. But what we're doing is we're opening ourselves up to become aware because we're so reliant and so used to the physical sight and the physical feeling. But as we begin to open up, we become more profound in one ways. We have a strength. Sometimes our strength is we're really good seers, or if you're like many of my clients, feelers, they just overwhelm and absorb feelings of others. So just where you are can be tested. And in my full weekend course, we talk about where's your strongest clair and using that as a really good stepping stone to practice. So thanks, guys. These readings, I'll read a few more. Kathy says, golden light protects us. The words on the card are energy work. Yeah, thank you. We all feel, if we're all going into fear energy and that golden light, it's a reminder that we are protected, that we are abundant. And if we're feeling lack and we're being triggered, then contact me, let me know, because that's one of the areas I help coach people on awakening and empowerment. So these are all beautiful. Notice the signs. There is so much beauty all around us, and we need to be more open to seeing beauty and love in everything. I love that because it's a reminder for us to really appreciate and to open up our hearts. And when we are in one with the environment, we become more one with our inner being. And the things that are chaotic and stressful, we just have more insight around. I love that. These are beautiful readings, guys. So Serena, divine mercy gives me grace to be tender and accepting. Love that. What else did we got? I got quiet retreat. So Gona, that's beautiful. Time to disconnect from the outer world and processing your true thoughts from your inner world. Creating this quiet will give you more clarity about what to do next. Thank you. That's a beautiful guided reading. So Cindy says that her card is taking action, embracing life's boundless possibilities. The person is leaping forward over a stream, and I can see in mind's eye the universe inside of this person that is leaping. Wow, powerful, Cindy. I feel, although it's a fearful time, I'm just going to scroll up, we can't sit frozen. We have everything we need to see the beautiful things coming our way, coming from our current time. Beautiful, Cindy. Thank you for that message for everyone. I'm sure we can all relate to that. And that's it. Thanks, guys, for sharing. That's so valuable. So now I want us to take a moment for the time's sake. We have lots of time and I have a lot of information. But what I want to do is before I go into the intuitive techniques, we've done the basic. We're going to take it a little bit step further. And I wanted to show you that as we are, this is the next, we're going to do the 3-card reading. But before we do that, because there's a lot of information and we have a good 25 minutes, here we go. This is the best way to do it, is we have not done a centering exercise. So the next time we're going to pull a card, I'm going to bring us into a quick internal centering groundedness before I do the prayer, so that we can really open up and you're going to notice a difference when you pull the next card after we do this. Before we do that, I just wanted to see if there's anything more that we can talk about, because this is about intuitive techniques. So we're going to do the connectivity with the prayer, but we also want to know and remind you that it is the present moment that we are able to have that portal into oneness, into the infinite mind. We're not going to be able to get into our intuitive nature if we're stuck worrying or focusing on things from the past or worried about the future. So my message is to be in the present moment, to, even if it's just for a moment, just to ask the prayer, or a moment to feel into your rotating senses, right? Ask what I see, hear, feel, and know. Just stay in that moment, because I know that the ego is always operating. Our mind always has inner chat, no differently than our heart beats for us. It's innate. It just, we don't have to think or do. It just is. Our ego operates in the same way. So if you're someone who's been struggling with meditation and mindfulness, and you think that you have to have a perfectly quiet mind, that's impossible. What we're doing in our intuitive ability is to become aware of all aspects. There's 2 streams of intelligence. There's the ego, which is based on subconscious thoughts, all of our past knowing, what we have experienced and what we've added to our likes and dislikes, right? We're judgments. All of those are from our ego, and they're valuable because there's a lot of wisdom. I mean, collectively, this group is powerful. The wisdom, the teachings, the stuff that we've overcome, collectively, we are powerful, and we have all we need right now in the moment to be a guide to ourselves and to others. And we could open up our infinite mind, which is that stream of intelligence when we access in a present moment through breath. Maybe it's like we're holding our breath and breathing. We can do this together. And you could take another breath in. And as you become aware of the breath and the sensation, you begin to connect with that inner being. You feel a shift in your body as you begin to become aware of the present moment. And that's the portal into the infinite mind. And how we access this is through communication. Some people sit there waiting for this powerful, all-knowing voice to tell us what we need to know and all of this. But our free will says we have to ask. So when we become present and we become still, we open up that communication and we begin, just like we had a friend over for tea. We're going to say, how are you? What's going on? Do you have anything to share with me? I'd love to support you. What it is that you need to know. We're having a two-way conversation. So connect with that 2 streams of intelligence as if you're in the center having a communication, and you begin people who begin to acknowledge it, and many of you probably already have, you hear two voices. You begin to hear the ego, and there's like this, you know, this real desire. I know I need to do this, or I should go to the gym. That's your ego. But then you have another mind that says, you're okay, all is well. There's this infinite trust and knowing and calmness that can overcome you. Well, to practice that stream, we all want to sit in both. Why? It's because divine and spirit uses what we know, uses our subconscious, uses our intellect, uses our memories to present information to us. So when I teach psychic mediumship, one of the things that we practice is discernment between what is ego and what's infinite mind. So how we do that is, if it repeats itself, it's repetitive, then we know that it is definitely a sign. If you keep seeing an airplane when you're doing a card, or when you're sitting in an airplane, inquire. And sometimes when you just say, just give what you get, trust and give what you get. Because when you do so, and you just say, I keep seeing a plane, and my friend might say, oh my goodness, I've been wanting to go on a vacation, and I just looked up some trips for 2021. Like, it may be so profound. It's non-linear, it's illogical, and it doesn't come from your physical senses. It's not something that you are going to have to intellectually understand. So we want to be able to just, I'm planting seeds of thoughts today so you can begin to access the streams of intelligence that are available to you, because it comes from both. So someone, I need to go, sorry. No worries, thank you. Blessings to you, Reshma. Also, Sharon asked, do we need to shuffle again? Yes, we're going to be shuffling our cards. And I want us to just look at, yeah, so make mistakes, guys, get uncomfortable, because this is the place to do so. We want to be able to practice, and being vulnerable is how we evolve, okay? It's being brave. So the next one is the 3-card spread. I wanted to just give you the information for the 3-card spread. And as you can see, there's the past 4 ways that I have offered, and there's many different ways that we can take a look at these cards. I have put 4 different ways to take a look at a 3-card spread. The more we put an intention, the more focused and the more information can flow. So if I'm giving a reading to a friend who's asking about a career, and I put 3 cards down, and already I have the intention, it's about career, and now we're going to increase the focus. And that's what's so beautiful about using cards. And if you can imagine the spreads that are the traditional Celtic cross as 10 cards, all with a specific reference to each position, it becomes such an incredible fun thing to do, because you get such a clear, accurate storyline. But for today, I want to introduce you to the 3-card spread. And it's the past, present, future, or we could intentionally set them as the energy leading up, the core energy, or future projection. It could be like, what's going to happen if we are on the same course, and if we take action, what will happen differently, right? That's a beautiful decision making. The next one is, it's the issue. Maybe there's something heavy on your heart you're uncertain about. And then the second card you pull is about the resolution, guidance and clarity around what it is that we need to become aware of to have a clear head. And then the third card is the outcome. It's the action step or the solution. And another way to mark the cards and to give them a focus reference is where you stand, what you aspire to, and how to get there. This is really good for coaching when you're uncertain about the steps you need to take. So I really wanted to show you the 3-card spread, because it is a powerful way to get your intention and focus, and to have a more rhythmatic reading. I love the 3-card. I often read 3 cards on my own. But the fun thing is, I take 3 cards from different decks. So if I could go back to that deck card, And then after this, I would love to pull another card, guys, and we're going to shuffle and do it all over again. But it is that deck card. See, if I'm wanting to coach myself on an action step, I grab one card from this deck, then I pull an Archangel Michael card, because the middle card, I like to have it like Michael's card. They're straightforward. They tell you like it is, and it's a good way to encourage me. And then I pull a love and light card, or an angel card, that's very loving and nurturing and gives me faith in myself. So we could mix these decks up and we could have so much fun with them for the 3-card reading. There's so many beautiful ways, but these are the basics. This is the information that I wanted to offer you to practice. And before we do the last card spread, oh, there's a question from Sharon. When doing a reading, does the client, sorry, I have to move this chat over so I can read it fully. Does the client shuffle, or do they just pick a card from the deck? Okay, thank you, Sharon. This is a very good question, because when I talked about the old tradition, we talked about the different preferences. Some people will offer the energy. They're afraid they don't want their energy because they buy into the old world tradition that they have to keep them sacred and safe from energies. I don't buy into that, and use your now in workshops, I have my workshop cards. I don't mind if many hands get on them and they get dirty, physical dirt. But my cards that I use for readings are separate, because it's just me and my clients. So that's probably the only reason why. Having others shuffle is your preference. Sometimes I let them interact and I let them be guided and play a part in the reading. Other times I'm on the phone and I shuffle it and I pull it for them because they're not present in my room. So I hope that helped, because it all comes with personal preference. And, you know, sometimes I let the client pull them and sometimes I pull them for them. It's just in the moment what I feel, and use your discernment. I hope that helped. So Al has asked a question as well. What is your view on card reversal? Thank you. That is a borrowed reference to tarot deck. The tarot deck shows that when we read cards in reverse, now it's my understanding most oracle and angel cards are not designed to be read in that way. But you can have fun with it, because really what that means is what Al is referring to is when it's in revert position, meaning it's upside down. If you pull it, it's usually that situation. So if I pulled this card, which upright says decide to be happy now. So if I pulled this card and I was reading it as I would in a tarot reading, as a challenge, because that's what it is. It means it's a challenge, or things that are blocking it, depending on the position. It would literally mean that we're having a hard time being happy right now. That's literally how I read it. I hope that helps. But no, we don't have to. It's rare that I ever read a card in reverse from the angel decks. However, in tarot, I practice reading the reversion. Thank you so much for bringing that up. So Al, okay, that's it. So thank you. Now let's get ready, because we're going to end this with one final card reading. I really want you to experience the difference in your ability to go into this card for yourself. I want us to practice, because we're not in a sharing panel view that I had hoped. I want us to pull a card for ourselves. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through and guide you through a prayer and a deepening, just taking a few minutes before we begin to shuffle. So allow yourself to just get comfortable in the chair where you're seated. Maybe you have to just prop yourself up, or just become more comfortable in your seat. And what I want you to do is just open your heart in prayer. Really feel the emotions of the words that I say. Follow along with my words in your own mind silently. What I want you to do is open, just give yourself permission to just be in this moment. and open your heart in prayer, in that receiving posture of hands up, just sort of like as a gesture to I am one with my inner being. That is connection. And as we become open to our inner being, just notice this calm shift that just takes over as you begin to breathe in and out of your core. And as we begin to open up into this present moment, we allow ourselves to experience the external senses. Allow yourself to hear my voice as I am speaking now through your ears. Allow yourself to just open your ears into the environment around you in the room that you're in. Perhaps you hear a fan, a furnace, or a distant car going by. Just be present with your environment now. Allow your body to begin to experience temperature. Check in with your physical, palpable essence. Perhaps you're feeling on the external, the clothes touching lightly on your skin. Perhaps you're feeling your weight of your body in this chair or seat that you're in. Maybe you're noticing cool fingers or toes, or a heat register, like warmth. Just be present with whatever you feel in your palpable, your physical body. Allow your senses to become aware of what you smell. Perhaps there's an open window and you smell spring, or there's dinner cooking, or remnants of a fragrance like a diffuse or essential oil. Just allow yourself now to become bionic to the smell of your environment. You may even notice that you begin to salivate as you awaken your ability to metaphysically smell and taste. Allow your senses to go into your inner being, into your third eye, your mind's eye. Perhaps you're seeing light flickering just underneath your eyelids, or you're seeing color or shades or images. As you become aware, allow that feeling of your inner being to become more deeper and more palpable to your senses. Notice any area of your body that's tingling, that has tension. And when you breathe in and out, do so with the intention of transmuting it into peace and love. And as we breathe in once more, we breathe in and out, we shift into the most peaceful state that we've been in all day. We are now surrendered in this perfect essence of presence. And in this presence, we open our heart even more. As we are now in consciousness, that portal into the infinite mind, and we allow that light to fill us. Perhaps you're feeling a flood, like a shower of light, or warmth pouring down your head, your shoulders, into your heart and beyond. And as we breathe in and we breathe out, we pull that down into our awareness, into our gut, our willpower, cleansing and clearing all the way down our root chakra and our feet into the core of Mother Earth. Just keep breathing in and out. And every time we do so, we just are in this perfect space with their inner being like never before. And as we open our heart, we recite this sacred prayer for our sacred space, which is asking for protection. Archangel Michael, we affirm your presence now. We affirm that you are reminding us that we are eternal beings and forever eternal in our senses, and that we are powerful, and we are confident to open up all of our psychic abilities in this moment and beyond, knowing that we are held safe and connecting with beings in love and light. We ask for help from God's will. You know best how to help all of our helpers in helping us spiritually awaken to the teacher that's within us, so that we know how to discern and understand the messages that we seek in our heart. And we ask for your guidance through these cards, this other link to God. Thank you. May it be blessings and healing in all ways. And we give thanks. Amen. Now we are going to pick up our deck and we're going to ask a question, a personal question. And just to come to this final conclusion of our call, of our webinar, we're going to ask, what do I need to know most? And sometimes the cards could be a specific question, such as these ones. It could be, what do I need to know most about my spiritual path? Or perhaps it's, how can I get more energy or sleep better? It could be as simple as that one. Or maybe you are wanting to know about a specific area of your life, because angel cards are wonderful for every area of your life. Relationship, career. Or maybe you want to ask a question on, what guidance does God want me to know about taking care of my health? So when you're ready and you have that intention, you have that question that you are posing, and this link to God, your angel deck is held in your hand. And as you think about that question, sometimes I hold the card to my heart chakra. Sometimes I hold the card to my power center. And I really feel that question. I emit that resonance to the frequency to God. I say, what do I need to know most about my spiritual path, God? And as I feel ready and using my intuitive nature, and follow along with me, we're ready to now prepare our deck by shuffling. So let's now shuffle our deck of cards together, and you will know when you're ready. Use that discernment, your gut. And what I want you to do is to just ask that question and pull a card when you're ready. One card. Just pull one card. And when you're ready, unveil it to yourself, but remember to use those tips. Broad perspective. Where does your focus go? Close your eyes. Is it a word? Focus on that word. Inquire. Maybe it's a color or a symbol that's in this card that just so stands out and you can't ignore it, and you want to inquire about that. Use the beautiful symbolism and visuals that are there for you, and inquire and communicate through dialogue, through conversation with your inner being, with God now. And take a moment. And what I'd love to do is, when you're ready, I would love for you to share your experience. perhaps you'd like to share the guidance, or maybe you want to share what popped out for you, or you had a success. Oh my goodness, I saw color in my third eye. Or wow, I felt something in my body when I was reading the card when I closed my eyes. Take a moment now to give yourself a reading and trust. There is nothing that you cannot be given when you are ready to listen. Know that everybody, every person on this earth has the ability to hear the voice of God if they're willing to listen. And when you're ready, just use the chat and you may share if you wish to share. I would love to hear your experiences. And this is a personal card and you may not want to share, but maybe what you do want to share is a success. Like, wow, I felt a hand at my back. Or wow, I got a message that maybe you just want to share and validate that the card you picked was spot on. Maybe you want to share that a visual popped out and you were able to interpret it and discern the information. Okay, so I would love for someone to share if you can when you're ready. But I'd also like for you to journal this and also use the 3-card spread. The methods that I suggested are powerful. Oh, thank you, Sharon. So Sharon has began to share. So thank you, Sharon, for starting us off here. So Sharon has said, I shuffled and fanned cards out. One card had a sparkle and I pulled it and it was actually a cut in the corner. Oh, okay. So wonderful. So you felt guided to that, Sharon. Discern that card. For some reason, you were called towards that card. And I have, some of my cards have bends in them because they're getting old. Sometimes I don't notice them and sometimes I do. So I love that your intuition is choosing a card based on that. I also got, Michael said career. He asked about career and he felt a jolt when he touched the card. Wow, Michael. And it's about prosperity and materials needed are provided as I follow my intuition and manifest my dreams into reality. Beautiful. So I like that because it's saying, take a step and what you need will be provided. So that's what I'm discerning. It's like, take action. You may not know what's in front of you, but taking action and more will be shown. I love that. Linda has pulled the Archangel Strength, great inner strength card to release harsh judgment, forgiveness, and compassion. Beautiful. Beautiful, Linda. I have Ariel. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that it was Ariel. Ariel is these angels. By the way, if you are interested in angel cards, teach us the beautiful functions of angels. So Ariel is often like a beautiful yellow, airy energy. She's the air element, watches over the sea and land animals, and helps us to put our head to heart and decisions, because she's all about thinking, but not intellectual thinking, insight thinking. So thank you, Linda. The more we know, the more divine uses the as a template. It's building a psychic dictionary. So here we go. Jeff said he pulled parents and the parents card in his deck. The divine truth is that your parents love you and the best of their ability. The angels are helping you heal from any pain associated with your mother or father. And I'll need to delve deeper into this one. Solar plexus and nervous feeling happening. Probably won't share this publicly. Thanks, Jeff, and rightfully so. But I totally get this. You know, I feel like when I just wanted to acknowledge that you felt something and there's something there and you're going to explore it. Wonderful. That's really inquiring and continuing on. And you may even want to pull one additional card. If you are in the inquiry stage, and if any of you have pulled a card and you want a little bit more information on it, set the intention and pull another card and place it over top and see what further information it brings. So Jeff, you might want to do that. So Michelle has shared clairvoyant, cognizant card. That's clear knowing. She says it speaks to me as there is a bright shining light that Uriel is holding in the flame. I see light flickering all the time. It is telling me to pay attention. Yes, Michelle, beautiful that you get that. And the fact that you're being made aware of these external signs is to say, pay attention to your internal being. What is it that you want to be guided on? What information and wisdom wants to come through? So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. The nurturing card, she goes on to say she got the nurturing card. She asked about her career, and the card that came up over and over again every time she asked about career, something about helping children. Amazing. Michelle, repetition is the way divine speaks to us. It's consistent and repeats and repeats. You know, you're getting the same message. Then look into that, delve into that. Karen has shared that she asked about her spiritual path and the card fell out when she shuffled, and it's trustworthy guidance. So you felt an aha moment when she saw the picture, and the angel standing behind the person was me because I feel they are guiding me always. Beautiful. Karen, excellent description of how your third eye and your knowing work together. Beautiful. Here, Sarah, I apologize if I'm not saying your name right, has said that she asked about finding a life partner, and the answer was, let love be the center of your life. Pow, that is beautiful. So much wisdom around that. And, you know, certainly when we embody the state of love, we can't help but attract to us loving beings, because just like when you're attracted to confident people or like really good, charismatic, fun people, depending on what you're seeking, that's no differently that we hold that state. We can't help but to attract. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. Gona, teaching and learning. Archangel Zachiel, yeah, exactly. Zachiel is about the head and the heart and really understanding esoteric wisdom, as well as learning and understanding concepts. So keeping an open mind and learning new ideas, then teaching these ideas to others. Gona, that's beautiful. So Jeff said he pulled a second card. Thank you, Jeff. And he asked, what do I need to know tomorrow? He asked, what do I need to do tomorrow in relation to this card I got? Listen to your intuitive feelings. The card and angel looks very comforting. So he's been asked to go into his internal feelings so that he could be guided. So I love that. So Jeff, if I were to be with you, I get the intuitive feeling that you'll know when it comes, because you're going to be more centered. When we're not centered, when we're feeling something, it's basically being opened and listening to your intuitive feeling before you react, before you respond. That's what's coming to me. Hi, Martha. So Martha's sharing, I asked about my spiritual path, and she received a card, shower of abundance, which confused her a bit, but she was able to pull aside her ego, and she saw the beauty of the card, and the spiritual path will be abundant and provided in her peace. Okay, I love that. Wonderful. So she was able to receive guidance on that card. What I feel like the theme here is, everyone, it's opening up and trusting the path. It's not just contemplating it and dreaming it, but it's bringing it down and taking action. It's like, well, what do we need to do to get clear? So the setting aside, seeing the beauty and bringing abundant and providing inner peace means when I'm at peace, I could dream. And when I'm at peace, I'm not worried about the conditions and the responsibilities, and I have time to think and etch time out for myself and work on my self-development. So I feel like intuitively, I want to add that piece because it's a theme here. Gona said, and she asked, she had regarding my spiritual career path. Oh yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was about your spiritual path. Oh, you're welcome, Jeff. So we have one more, and then we'll end our reading. So Martha ends with both cards I pulled tonight. I was really drawn to the golden halos around the angel's head, which is also the color I saw and felt during the prayer. Amazing. Okay, so can I give some of my intuitive guidance, Martha? You may already know this, but also anyone else that's tapping into what Martha got. When we see a halo above, like a painting, when we see the halo of light around the angels, it's literally there. Oh, there. We all have the ability. We aren't separate from our own divine essence. We are one. We are not separate. And when we are reminded that we're not separate, we allow ourselves to connect more readily into that space. It's not something that's off on some distant future when we put our feet up on the weekend, or maybe I'll be peaceful when I go to yoga. It's in the moment we choose to be so. So the halo is bringing about that reminder that whenever we bring ourselves to open our hearts and to feel into our metaphysical senses, it's the portal, it's the communication vessel. If we could just all sit in this beautiful space without feeling the need to shield and protect, then we have begun to open up our own ability to live much like the masters did, like Jesus, where you see the halo. It's depicting their ability to live from their soul. So I hope that helps. I do want to say thank you to everyone for participating on this call. But what I wanted to do is, if you are seeking next steps, I just wanted to take a quick second to go back to my slides, and I want to share some next steps. Next Wednesday, I would absolutely love it if you joined me for the Empath Empowerment online workshop, where we talk about opening up our intuitive abilities and not feeling like we need to block them in fear, and how to really be a master of the feeling nature that is, you're a healer. And if you could feel it, you could heal it. It's a beautiful workshop. But also my Divine Communication Certificate course in person in July, which is a full weekend of delving in, overcoming, unveiling the ego, working on opening ourselves up to our communicators, or divine angels and spirit guides and mediumship. It's beautiful. But also, if you are like me, and I enjoy online as well, I have a 6-week online course that's coming up in June, and I wanted to offer it because it's a beta program. It's 6 full weeks, live calls. They're an hour, at least an hour long, videos, guided meditations, and 1 private phone call. This is a one-time offer. I'm looking for 6 people to jump on this beta program, because I've been working on it now since last summer, and I'm ready to really launch it and to really teach it. And it's coming from a 17-20-hour weekend course, and I'm giving you everything, but in a more deliverable weekly 6-week program. It's transformational. It's going to help us to override the ego, unveil those fears, work on our intuitive abilities. It's about delving into that discernment muscle and using plenty of tools, our own vessel, using our senses. But it's also communicating, getting to know who the angels are and who's with you. Because from moment to moment, you're tapping into different realms. God, if you're asking for help and you're not sure, if you're curious like I am, the difference between an angelic realm, the spirit realm, the earth realm, the fairies and the pixels versus mediumship, divine loved ones who passed on, deceased loved ones, we're going to know who's showing up. We're going to learn how to discern, how to get guidance, how to override our ego, unblock those fears, unveil. We're going to clear away through sacred ceremonies. It's beautiful. So there's so much. And finally, I want to gift you, every single person that's on this call, I want to offer you a free clarity call, because maybe something triggered you tonight. Maybe there was a seed of thought. Maybe you want to take this information deeper and have a quick call on it. I would love to lend your support, and it's free. It's my gift to you for showing up. But I also want to be available, because as a light worker, there's so much that I have experienced over my journey since 2007. And, you know, I'm a meditation teacher. There's all sorts of tools that I have to share. So take me up on my offer. It's a 30-minute value at $84.75. There's a typo there, but that's okay. It usually takes about half hour for me to get just one answer for you, one question that you pose. But it's also an opportunity to see if I could be of support in any other way. Okay, so I wanted to give you this slide deck PDF in an email. Because here's, you've got the full psychic tips. I've got hundreds of tips, but this is the meat that we took out for today. They're beautiful. So there you have it. I'm excited to see you. Also, I have a free divine communication workshop that's coming up at the end of the month on April 29th, I believe, and it's at 7:30 to 9, and it's free. So I'm going to send you the Zoom link to that, but I'm changing it. I want it to be more interactive. So believe me, next time we're going to have a panel and we're going to be able to share. So thank you so much. And I'm going to hang back. If any of you have any questions, I wanted to stay as long as you would like and to open it up now for a few minutes. But if you are someone who has to get going, then I understand. And just go on my website and take up my free gift for a clarity session. As soon as you hit my website, it's the first bar at the top, and it'll take you right into scheduling one with me. So I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward. Thank you so much for joining me. So thank you. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much. And Cindy. Oh, thank you very much, Callan. And Michelle, thank you so much again. Oh, my pleasure, everyone. Thank you, Al and Kathy. Oh, I'm so glad, Kathy, that you've learned lots. Excellent. And Flynn, oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Jeff. Back at you. Thank you. You're the best. Oh, thank you, Oren. Blessings. Ah, thank you. Welcome back, Karen. Oh, thank you, Martha. And Anne, thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Gona. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm so glad that you helped gain confidence from this. Thank you. So if there are no questions, and thank you for these lovely comments and goodbyes, and thank you. Oh, and also one from Monica. Oh, thank you. You're wonderful. Thank you, Sharon, as well. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Sharon. So again, this has been such a pleasure. And again, I look forward to connecting with you on any level. And so I'm going to end this, and I'm going to send you the recording via email shortly. Blessings, everyone. Thank you, Sarah. Many thanks. Take care. Bye.